Anti-Christian violence is exploding across Europe, according to a new disturbing report from the Observatory on Intolerance and Discrimination Against Christians in Europe. CBN's Trey Goins-Phillips joins us now. Trey, what did you think about this report?
Yeah, I mean, Raj, after digging into some of the data and seeing some of the numbers in there, it's alarming. I think it's scary and a bit jarring, especially as a Christian who has the blessing of living in the United States, where we haven't seen a lot of this, but we are seeing it in Europe, and that's part of the West, and culturally we have a lot in common with them. So it is getting closer and closer to home. And just looking at some of these numbers, the study noted that there were 2,211 hate crimes targeting Christians recorded across the European continent in 2024. And those numbers, that's absolutely sobering to see that this is something, like I said, that is getting closer and closer to home. And I'm just reminded of the passage in Romans 8 that talks about how we know all of creation is groaning as the pains of childbirth right up until the present time, as the passage says. I think that we're seeing that. We are seeing the earth going through these pains of childbirth, indicating of a return of Christ. But the squeeze, for lack of a better word, is getting tighter and tighter, and we're seeing it in places we didn't anticipate. At least I didn't anticipate seeing it to the extent that it's happening.
We didn't anticipate it, but maybe saw some of the writing on the wall, because to me it seems like Europe unknowingly or subconsciously pushed the self-destruct button with some of their policies. I want to read a couple things from this report verbatim. I don't normally like to just read, but I think this is really important what they said. They said, well, let me read this part first. The most affected countries in 2024 were France, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Spain. In November, a 76-year-old monk was killed and several others were injured during an attack on a Spanish monastery. In January, one man was shot dead in an ISIS-related attack during Sunday Mass at a Catholic church in Istanbul. In September, a historic church in Saint-Omer, France, was completely destroyed in an arson attack. One more paragraph that again, pulling this directly from this report that I think is important to comment on. It says this: as in previous years, several Christians were criminally charged for displaying Bible verses, offering voluntary conversations, or even silently praying in so-called buffer zones around abortion facilities. Others face prosecution for peacefully expressing their religious beliefs or historic Christian teachings on issues related to sexual ethics. Europe, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, sometimes you just have to call a spade. You're importing a population that vehemently and just by definition disagrees with all of these European values you care so much to promulgate. But here's the problem: the people that the source of these European values is the one thing that you actually are silencing. This is insanity. It's so clear from this side of the pond what's happening, and I know there are different nations that are trying to push back on. The word that I'm thinking of that rhymes with that sounds like self-destruction. I don't think I can say on YouTube, but it's basically taking your own life, and that seems like Europe is going down that path. And this report sure looks like the consequences of your policies are coming around to bite you now. And I really hope and pray for Europe's sake that they grow a backbone and they start making wise decisions as to the bedrock of what made Europe a beacon for, with all of its issues and all of its problems. Same thing here with the United States, a myriad of issues and problems. But what at its core, at least tried to be a place that valued all human life, that valued liberty, that valued free speech, that valued human dignity, that didn't have caste systems or dhimmis, that all people were created in the image of God. We're getting away from that. And so, yeah, let's be praying for Europe, because something is seriously wrong with what's going on over there. But Trey, I'll give you the last word, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think that there's a difference. So I'll give you an example. I was just in earlier this year over the summer. My wife and I took a trip to Paris, and it was wonderful. It was beautiful in so many ways. I mean, it's a beautiful city, but I was surprised to see so many immigrants who were there, who were Muslim and maintaining all of their cultures and all their traditions. And in many circles, different parts of the city, it was like you could feel that burden of it, like, okay, this is not European right now. This is something different. And it just made me think, we value, as Christians, we've talked about this, Raj, on another video, we value diversity. There's great beauty in all the different ethnicities that exist. We even value different cultural traditions. I think that's incredible and can be a blessing to learn from one another, different things that we value, different traditions that we bring to the table. The problem comes when there's not a desire to assimilate on shared values. When we don't have shared values, that is where we're seeing this breakdown, this societal breakdown in European culture. And I hope that it serves as a cautionary tale to us here at home in the United States, that we can have this diversity culturally, and of course we can have diversity ethnically, but we have to be united on what it is that we value as a society and as people. And the sad irony is in our culture, especially, I'm speaking more to us here at home in the United States, is so often Christianity is under attack. But the thing that created the space, the atmosphere where people can freely talk about how terrible they think Christianity is, or they can freely write about what they think, or they can freely express their own religious beliefs, all of that is rooted in a Christian ethic. It's rooted in the Christian values of autonomy, of individual liberties, of our value as human beings who are created in the image of God. So we need to be united on all of those values, and then we can have other differences. But if we're not united on those values, the threads that have brought a culture together are going to fray. And I'm afraid that's what we're seeing happen quickly in Europe.
Yeah, and I said to give you the last word, but I think what your point is so spot on. My whole dad's side of the family is from India, and when Indian folks come to the United States, we celebrate our heritage. We eat Indian food. We listen to Indian music. We watch, Indian films. People still speak in Hindi, Malayalam, Gujarati, Punjabi. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, when Indian folks come to the United States, they become Americans. They embrace America, the Constitution, the freedoms, the liberties, and they celebrate it. Indians are so proud to be American. We're thrilled and blessed and honored and privileged to be here. And I think that there's a difference between that kind of immigration and importing those who don't want to become American but want to impose some sort of law and understanding that is fundamentally different than the established understanding of freedom and dignity for all human beings. And so I think that there just needs to be hard conversations. Like, do you want to come here and become British? Do you want to come here and become American and embrace these values? And if you don't, then why are you coming here in the first place? It's obviously a very tricky, a very precarious conversation, but it has nothing to do with diversity. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has to do with values, like you said, Trey. Excellent point. Let's be praying for Europe because, man, judging by this report, God knows that Europe needs God. Let's put it that way. But Trey, I appreciate your time, my friend, and God bless.
Yeah, happy to be here.